Good afternoon, WHL fans. I'm Josh Critzer with PNW Hockey Talk. Once again, glad to be joined by James Tubb of the Medicine Hat News. Appreciate you flying solo last week as I had to bail out due to kind of some of those illnesses that we're running around that we're seeing across hockey right now. But glad to be back with you, James, to kind of preview another Wednesday night in the Dub.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back, Josh. You're looking good as always, and we got a fun one to tee up. So I'm glad you're back here to help me with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, tune in here tonight for Wednesday night in the Dub on the WHL's YouTube page. The game will be starting at 7 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Pacific, as the Saskatoon Blades pay visit to the Lethbridge Hurricanes in a all-Eastern Conference matchup. We'll take a look at the standings now here, and as we'll be able to see, we've got your Tigers there in Medicine Hat sitting up there in first place at 78 points. And Lethbridge 7 points back there at 71, and then the Saskatoon Blades down there at 63. Lethbridge comes in the last 10 games at 6-3-1-0, with the Saskatoon Blades at 5-3-1-1. James, just kind of maybe before we kind of really dive in, kind of what is your kind of quick, maybe 15-20 second analysis of kind of what you're looking forward to here tonight?
Yeah, for both teams, for Lethbridge, it's a stingy team that's trying to get back on the winning ways. They've lost 2 in a row here on the road, lost to Edmonton on Saturday, and then in Medicine Hat on Family Day Monday, President's Day Monday, wherever you're watching from. But for the Hurricanes, it's trying to get back on track. They have success at home. Right now this season, they're 25-1 at home, so looking to keep that record going. And for the Blades, it's trying to get above 500 on the road, 11-2-0-2 right now. And for them, it is just trying to get back towards that East Division race. Right now, it's Brandon who overtook the East Division lead over the Prince Albert on Tuesday. Saskatoon's just trying to get up there, right? Get a little higher seating here for the playoffs. They've slipped a little bit since the deadline, which makes sense. They've moved out some big names, but just trying to get back on the track a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. I think as we're starting to kind of get into the crunch time, you're starting to see as teams have kind of shifted around after some of the moves of the deadline. One other thing, I think the key points here for the game tonight is just what the injury status looks like. So at the time of us recording this, we're recording a peek behind the curtain here on actually Tuesday evening, and we have not seen the most recent WHL report, so there is probably a name missing, or there might be a couple of other adjustments when the February 18th report comes out, but both teams not exactly operating at 100%. James, I know you've got one other name that you might want to add to Lethbridge. What can you tell us there?
Yeah, and it was just some we noticed in Monday's game between the Tigers and Lethbridge. Forward Leo Brayard, who represented Switzerland at the World Juniors, is also out for the Hurricanes. So that's 4 top 6 forwards, guys who should be in the top 6, are out of the lineup for that Central Division team.
Yep. So I think when you look at this game, there's definitely a lot of firepower on both sides, but there's also some big names missing from both teams. I know we'll kind of jump into kind of some of our players that we're going to keep an eye on here. Obviously, there's maybe one of the bigger names is Braden Yeager. We're not going to touch on him. I imagine the Western Hockey League is pumping his tires enough. A lot of people know him, so we're going to kind of take him out of the picture from our selection. We both kind of agreed. Let's kind of try and highlight some other guys. So
he's really good. What more?
He's really good.
Really,
Watch
really
Yeager.
Good.
Yeah. Watch Yeager. He's great. That we're not saying he's not good, right? It's everybody knows you're gonna watch Yeager. Yeah.
The only Yeager that bombs is the drink. All right, Braden Yeager's pretty good.
Dude, look at you go, man. You are coming in flying. I love it. So James, I guess we'll just kind of start with you. Kind of who are you keeping an eye on here tonight from the Blades perspective?
Hand up, Josh. I'm cheating a little bit. It's a guy I've seen a lot growing up for him in the WHL, and that's forward Hayden Arsani with the Saskatoon Blades, and was a big part of that trade, the return for the Blades in the deal for Tanner Molendijk and Misha Volotovsky. And ever since he got to the Blades, he's really kind of found his stride and getting that extra ice time he wasn't going to get in Medicine Hat. And you see it, he's got 18 points on the year, 22 games since joining the Blades. In 15 games, he's got 8 goals and 14 points. And a lot of that has just been being in the right spot, as we see here on this play, just kind of moving up ice. And he starts to play, comes in behind as the trailer, and scores there on Swift Current's netminder. And for Hayden Arsani, his game relies a lot on speed. And, he's not the tallest guy, so he has a lot of speed. It's the kind of the quickness that made him a 16th overall pick of the Tigers in the 2022 WHL draft. And after a bit of a scary injury early this season with the Tigers, he's been able to get back and show that speed here. As you see, as a hit to make a play by a teammate, burns up ice here and scores on the rivals for the Blades, the Prince Albert Raiders. And it is just, without beating it to death, it's the name of the game for Hayden Arsani, and that's speed. And that's here as he burns his former team here. The Tigers, in a meeting a couple weeks ago, just blares up ice, and kind of an underrated part of his game is that shot. And we see it there. And he's, I would say, more of an underrated name in the WHL right now just because of injuries in the past and because he played on a team with Gavin McKenna. But Hayden Arsani has shown with a shot like that and the speed and just being at the right place at the right time, as he is here at the top of the circles, kind of disappears a little bit, but then finds his chance. And when he gets it, he's going to score.
Yeah. Where have you kind of seen maybe him take advantage of, some of that increased ice time from Medicine Hat, obviously playing with different kind of level of players maybe, and kind of a team with a kind of a different trajectory. Have you noticed at all from him and, kind of what he's able to do here as we look at maybe one of his big highlight goals of winning the game against Red Deer?
Well, and this is the biggest part, Josh, and the perfect tee up. Overtime, right? About 56 seconds into overtime when he scores that, in Medicine Hat, he's not going to be one of the first couple of options out of the gate for an overtime. So he gets that opportunity in Saskatoon. He gets the extra power play time, and he's ran with it, right? It's not just a guy that's, kind of floated in water there, or treaded in water, as they would say. Hayden Arsani has jumped up in this big moment. He's taken it, and he's going to excel, I think, on Wednesday night in the dub and in the playoffs for this Blades team and in years to come. There was, like I said, there's a reason he was the name or the big name in the return for this deal, and he's been an really good early return for the Blades.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep us rolling forward here, and kind of who I'm maybe going to look at from the Saskatoon Blades. Kind of went back and forth on a couple of guys that I was looking at, but I think ultimately I landed on Hunter Lang. And for me, Hunter is a guy who I was able to see last year up close when he was with the Prince George Cougars. He was, he's a big body, right? He's 6'6", 209. Look at his spots on the ice where he's going to score his goals, right? He's going to go right to the front of the net. He's going to park himself there. He's a big body. When he does shoot it, he likes to kind of go up or right on the goal, as you'll see with 6 of his goals being scored up there. As we kind of mentioned a little bit with the injuries that are going on right now, you'll see a big jump in ice time, averaging about 5 minutes more per game over the last 5 games right now than where he's been. So, as we look at a couple of clips here from Lang, he's able to kind of get up in the rush and kind of get involved in the play. But again, it's where the majority of those goals are going to come from, kind of kind of below the circles there, and is going to be right in front of the slot. He's got a sneaky good wrist shot. I think, maybe kind of slept on a little bit in his game. But going from, playing with some of the guys in Prince George with Riley Height, and there's a lot there, and where he's kind of maybe used to being not the primary option and playing power play 2 and different things like that. He's definitely a player who I think is going to benefit from the change of scenery and being able to play on a team that's maybe going to leverage kind of his style of play a little bit more. I think Prince George sometimes like to play a little bit more of a finesse style game. Here, he kind of shows his hands and being able to kind of flip them over. Looks like he was going to try and take it on his forehand and had a quick flip it over onto the backhand. We'll see a replay here on the next angle that shows what he has to kind of do and how he's able to kind of quick, flip his hands over. This is the clip here I was talking about. You can see he's right there, and he's quickly able to kind of pivot and adjust to it. But again, here, this is what I'm talking about. This is the prototypical Hunter Lang goal, number 27, right, parked there in front of the net, and then gets tackled. So I think it's one of those situations where, you just can't move him. He's so big, right? And I think that's going to give Saskatoon a lot to work with here going forward.
You mentioned it, Josh, the big body that Hunter Lang is. That's kind of a guy you want in the playoffs, right? Winning that net front battle, being there in that tough spot to either block the goalie's view or, tap in those goals that we saw there, or even on the rush there. So that's a good pickup for the Blades, as they've done kind of here in this season, as they've retooled from last year's deep playoff run.
Yep. Let's keep us moving forward here as we kind of preview the Wednesday night in the Dub game. Again, if you're just tuning in or catching different segments of this, we're again 7 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Pacific on the WHL's YouTube page. Who are you keeping an eye on from the Hurricanes? I know that they're a team that you're familiar with, that you've seen a fair amount. We'll just kind of who. I imagine you had to kind of narrow it down. Where did you kind of settle?
Settled on the back end, and that was the easiest. You go with the captain, you go with the guy who's going to wear it all, and that's Noah Chadwick on the blue line for the Lethbridge Hurricanes. And there's a reason the Toronto Maple Leafs signed Noah after drafting him in 2023. Right, he's relied a lot for the blue line in the Windy City as a 19-year-old, and he's done a really good job this year of bolstering that back end. And even right now, when they're injured, right, we see a bit of a decrease in ice time, but I think they've been spreading that out. But he's going to be relied upon even more, to try to bring that offense from the back end, and whether that's firing shots to try to find the back of the net or trying to create tip-ins or rebounds off the goalie's pads. And for Noah, it's a big part of his game is getting those pucks towards the net, on the net here. As we see in this play here, it was before Christmas there, a nice blast by former Tiger netminder Zach Sahara, and just off a rebound. And that's a big part, is just getting those pucks towards the nets. And when you have a boomer like that, a booming slap shot like that, not a lot of guys want to stand in front of that. So it creates its own lanes. He's not having to look past or try to get through or buy block shots. And, just keep showing those Tigers highlights there, Josh. That'll play well here in Medicine Hat. But no, it is. I mean, he plays well in these big games against rivals like Medicine Hat. And, a Wednesday night in the Dub game against Saskatoon, it's a perfect time for Noah Chadwick to shine. And, I mean, when you have a shot like that, you might as well unleash it as much as you can. And that's going to be a big part of success here for the Hurricanes, as they're missing those four guys, as we kind of keep harping on here in the forward core. But, I mean, for Noah, there's a reason he's the captain as well. He's helped lead this team here through some ups and downs the last couple seasons as they look to try to get the division this year, a couple points back of the Tigers and the Hitmen. But for the Hurricanes and Noah Chadwick, a guy to watch. And from Toronto Maple Leafs fans, maybe a future blue liner for the NHL club, or at least the AHL club starting maybe next season or the year after, a really good player to watch.
Yeah, I imagine if, when we're pulling highlights, you might grab some Seattle highlights to show, against the Winterhawks. So, it's just sometimes how she goes, right? But
whiteboard material, we'll remember.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I already did when I picked against the Tigers, and so the only one who did, right? You're the only one who picked the Tigers, right? So, yeah, it's kind of the way it goes sometimes. So. It's kind of fun to do that, and it's just happened to be the clips that I found. And as we were going through it, I was like, I just pulled a lot against Medicine Hat. Sorry, Tiger fans, but there you go. So let's kind of keep going forward. Kind of last player that we're going to keep an eye on here tonight, at least for me, and for those of us in the States, a player familiar with is Cooper Guzowski. And Cooper is the type of player who is going to contribute. He's definitely probably not kind of the biggest household name out there, if you will. He is playing a little bit more over the last couple of games as a 19-year-old. He's got a little bit of a flair for the dramatic at times, as we'll see in a couple of the highlights that we show. And he's an emotional player, fiery player, likes to get involved in the play. And, I think for fans who are getting to kind of tune in, he's also, he wants the puck on his stick, right? Final, looks 10 seconds, right? Here's that flair for the dramatic, right? Celebrating in front of the Broncos bench with, on the road, pick up the 2 points, avoid having to go to the shootout. Just a great move to get to the slot and find his time and space. And, I don't know the context of that, but I imagine there was something there of maybe a goal called off or something like that. But here again, it's that wrist shot, it's that ability and that confidence to be able to go to the kind of those dirty areas, work his way to the slot, not afraid to kind of get involved with certain plays there. So he again here on the power play finds that soft spot in the ice, kind of just picks his spot, right? He doesn't really dust it off completely, but enough that he kind of can really kind of pick his location and is able to kind of beat the goaltender here clean and kind of move, try and get the Hurricanes back in the game. So former Spokane Chief way back in the day. So, but again, there's a lot of good players out there, and we have to sometimes make a challenging decision on who to watch. But for me, Cooper Gazowski is a player who, if you like kind of that, he plays bigger than his size, right?
It's a player you want in big games, right? He either steps up to it or he maybe makes the moment bigger for the opponent, right? That they maybe crumble in that. But no, Cooper Jazowski's a good pick and a really good player to watch from the Hurricanes.
Yep. So we've reached that point of the show where I have to once again, congratulations, sir. We're going to have to go into our prediction segment, and we're going to kind of take a look at the standings here. And if I remove our little graphic, we'll see that Mr. James is hanging out there now at a 10-2 with getting the hometown pick correct. First of us to reach that 10-win plateau. Kind of separated yourself a little bit there from Ryan. I'm excited to be 2 games above 500, I think, for the first time in a while. So, once again, congratulations. We're all kind of looking up to you. One of these days, I might have a cool graphic where you're not at the bottom of the list and I'm at the top. But
no, you keep me at the bottom. I can't be over, or people can't look at me as a target if I'm at the bottom, right? You kind of sneak by, and that's all we're trying to do here is just sneak by and win.
Yeah. You don't like the target. You don't want the target on your back, eh? Is that how it goes?
It's always there, right? People are going to look at the record and they're going to bring their best out every night against me, and I'm ready for that amount of attention.
Yeah,
or whatever cliche. It's not that serious.
Yeah,
it's fun. It is. Yeah. 10-2. For me, you're going to stake it, try to get to 11-2. I'm going to stick down the highway 3 here, and I'm going to go with the Lethbridge Hurricanes. I think just with their home record alone, I think they're going to defend visit Lethbridge.com arena and try to get back in the winning ways there. And they like their home ice, and they're going to defend it Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think for me, not to copy off you, and we were talking before we recorded. I was just struggling with this pick. I just think with the injuries and what's going on right now with both the teams, I think both teams are kind of trying to figure out their ways, trying to figure out what their identity is, whether it be injuries or new players coming in, new systems, trying to fit all in. For me, as much as we didn't highlight him on this show, it's Braden Yeager for me. These are the players that, when they're the top players, guys he's been at a Memorial Cup, he's been at World Juniors, he's not afraid of the bright lights. Kind of these, I know the players love these Wednesday night in the Dub games. They love being able to show off and superstars shine. And so for me, I think Yeager, if I had to make a prediction, I'm going 2 goals, 1 assist. I think he probably, it's a 1-goal game, and I'm going to give Yeager the game-winning goal. If I'm going to have to really get on my predictions, I can't necessarily always pick the winners correctly. Maybe I can get it right with a 2-1 from Mr. Yeager.
Yeah, I love it. Adding more to the predictions, and you know what, Jackson Unger, maybe he pitches. No, well, wouldn't pitch a shutout for your prediction, but maybe he has a good night in net, which he likely would too, right? As you mentioned, went to that Mem Cup as well. It's a good pick, and it's going to be a fun night regardless, and a good feature here for the Wednesday night in the Dub, as you see at the bottom of the screen, 7 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Pacific, and it's going to be a nice battle in the Windy City of Alberta.
Yeah, and looking forward to seeing if they haven't already announced yet if the Wednesday night in the Dub will kind of keep moving forward. I imagine through the rest of the regular season, unless I've missed it here today, so I apologize. But kind of the next wave of Wednesday night in the Dub games. So I know this has been a really popular feature that a lot of fans have enjoyed. I know I've enjoyed being able to see some of these other teams and being able to see them on a platform like YouTube and on X or Twitter, and being able to just kind of really enjoy these games and get an opportunity to really kind of see what the rest of the league is about. Because I think sometimes, especially with the way the Western Hockey League is, compared to the NHL, where you don't see every team every year, and you play a lot of within your own conference and your own division. And I know Portland's played Seattle 3 times recently. It's just sometimes it's just how it goes, right, with the nature of travel. This is a really great initiative to be able to see the other talent in the league, and just to find these storylines and find these players who may not be nationally known yet, but there's some great players, and go out and support your local rinks, support your local paper, and look forward to catching up everybody once again here next week, and look forward to seeing you all around the rink.